Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm continuing my look at the Hammer House of Mystery and Suspense. This series was transmitted 1984 to 1985, and this is episode 9, The Corvini Inheritance. And it's a very interesting story, as usual. They all are very engaging stories. And yeah, I'll get into it. So this is 70 minutes long. I think this definitely has a lot of horror in this. Definitely. It's a movement. I think it's kind of a psychological one in many ways. You could say there's a bit of supernatural, but that could be just left open to decide whether there's a supernatural element in this. Definitely, yes. Now, it's written by David Fisher. David Fisher, well, is written for Doctor Who, 1978. The Stones of Blood, which was the Key to Time series, Tom Baker. Also the Androids of Tara. That's another part of that Key to Time series from all 1978. Then he's written the classic City of Death from 1979, which is, well, it's considered one of the great stories from the Fourth Doctor. Creature from the Pit, 1979, and The Leisure Hive, 1980. So it's all for the Fourth Doctor. Then the director is Gabrielle Beaumont. The most sort of feature film that stands out, there isn't that many. It's The Godsend from 1980, which is sort of horror film. But saying that, she is a major director of TV series and episodes. Her career is absolutely fantastic. All the sort of series that you might imagine, American primetime TV series, she's had some involvement in. It's just amazing, absolutely. Anyway, here she is, doing one here. Yes. Now, the locations, as usual, on this, we've got Leith Mansions, which is in Maida Vale, London. All these, all very near sort of the particular areas that they're filming. City of Westminster College, Maida Vale again, London. And then Paddington Recreation Ground in London again. Yeah, there are these exterior locations, but it's very much I think more of an interior one in terms of what we see. But it's all good. It's all good, isn't it? Well, let's just talk about the cast. Because the one person for me dominates this story is David McCallum, the wonderful David McCallum, who I think sadly we lost him last year. What a tremendous actor is. He's somebody I've known, right, going back to the 60s. He plays Frank Lane, who this really, it's all about him, this story. But as I say, he's such a wonderful actor. You when you look at what he did, in terms of his career. It's amazing. And he kept forging out different careers and appearing, you name it, and he's appeared in it in both American and UK TV. Yeah. But I just mentioned that I always like to look at the feature films. Now, as his career developed, I think one of his very earliest roles was in A Night to Remember, 1958. One of the big roles, as these early ones are not, but he's there in it. And this was the film about the Titanic. That's Night to Remember, 1958. Then, of course, we know him in this one, The Great Escape from 1963. He's very much in that film. You remember him quite well in the role that really put his career forward in The Great Escape. He was also in The Greatest Story Ever Told, which is the biblical epic from 1965, which he plays Judas Iscariot. Yeah, another great film, that. But of course, I've got to say it because it's more personal for me as well. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that wonderful series in the 60s. And it's just a great series. And they made, which I used to watch as well, sort of like extended episodes. They put them as feature films. I think they even showed some in the cinema as well, but they used to show them on TV. I remember watching them, particularly with my granddad. We used to sit watching them, and that's how I know him. But of course, from that, they just carried on into so many classic series that you can just. He appears in episodes here, episodes there, and what a career! It just was absolutely amazing. He is. Really, he's always convincing in his roles. He really is. He's just great. I've gone on, but like a fanboy. Yeah. Then we've got Jan Francis, who plays Eva Bailey. Her career is very much still in TV. It's a long career in TV appearances, and she was a very familiar face. I remember certainly at the time in the 70s seeing her, and it all started from 1971. Her career, she was in a big, I think, TV series called Best Friends. I think it was. It was one of those ITV kind of series that they had that was quite popular. But she went on to so many different things. But she's good in this, yeah. She very good. But as I say, it's dominated by David McCallum. I'll just mention another actor, Terence Alexander, who plays Hammond. He had a massive career, going right back to 1947. Yeah, 1947. He was in a Carry On film. He was in Carry On Regardless, one of the black and white early Carry On films, 1961. He was in Waterloo. Oh, wow. Waterloo, 1970. What a film that is about Napoleon. It's just Christopher Plummer and Rod Steiger. What a film that is. And also, he was in an Amicus anthology film, The Vault of Horror, 1973. Wow, you can't get better than that. And then, of course, you've got it. He was in Doctor Who. Yes, he was in the 1985 Sixth Doctor story, The Mark of the Rani. Wow. Yes, it was. And then I'll give you one more actor, because the cast is the very small parts, but there's another one. Is Stephen Yardley, who plays Knowles. He was in two Doctor Who stories as well. He was in Genesis of the Daleks, which you can't get any more. Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor story. Fantastic story there. So wonderful. And he was in a Sixth Doctor story, which is very good as well. Quite controversial it was at the time. Vengeance on Varos, which I think is a really good story from the Sixth Doctor, the underrated Sixth Doctor, who you get to like more and more over the years. And then you look again, he's just another who just has so many TV series. That's how they create their career. It's really good to see him. And that's it. Yeah, those are the actors involved in this. So, what is the story about, you're saying? Well, it all centres on David McCall's character, Frank Lane. He's a chief security officer. He's a high-tech geek, really. And for its time, this was considered, way ahead. All the security, videotaping, and surveillance and all that. And this is his life, really. And he works in this auction house where they do all sorts of valuable auctions, like just works of art and all that sort of thing. Very valuable, and therefore that's his job as security. Now, the real story in this, there are two elements to it. The first is he's actually quite a lonely person who's just married, totally obsessed with his job. Because when he comes home, his life at home, he's still doing surveillance. He's looking outside, he's checking everything. He's got his camera, his binoculars, he's recording. He's doing the same. His life just carries on. And he's sort of quite a lonely existence with his cat. But then he meets this new neighbour, who's played by Jan Francis, name's Eva Bailey. And she appears to have been stalked, and she's quite distressed, and she's just moved into his flat. And so he says that he'll help her out with surveillance. He does. Clearly, he really quite likes her a lot. And the problem is he starts to get obsessed with her. And I think she's very aware of that. And he's just watching her now as much, and it gets a bit creepy, a bit stalkerish, I think. And especially if she does meet somebody else who starts having a relationship in a night class. He's popping and watching all this. And then the other big part of the story is that in the auction house, they've looking after this Corvini jewelry collection. It's very valuable, extremely valuable, needs extra security, which he's involved in. But it's got this curse, and they want to get rid of it to the people who own it. And we get that element because he becomes a bit obsessed with that as well. His obsessions cross over, and you could say it affects him quite psychologically. And that's the brilliance of this story, because it's really a study in how dangerous obsessions become and how his loneliness kind of fuels all this. And it's beautifully written, but David McCallum, he just blows it away. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing in this. I really can't compliment him enough for his performance, but he always gives a good performance. I've always loved him. Maybe I'm biased sometimes. Some people might not see him. I think he's a great actor who's sadly underrated. I wish actually he'd have kind of done even more movies, because his work really is often known in TV series, and some great TV series. You just look at them and you think, wow, he was in this, in that, and all through the decades. So, yeah. So I'm going on. But anyhow, this is a great story. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did kind of know what the outcome would be because I remembered it. But if you're watching this for the first time, then maybe the ending would be very interesting for you. You think, oh, wow, yeah, I love it. It's been a great series. As usual, I'll just pop up with there it is. Brilliant. So that's it. That's it. I finished. So, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce all these videos. And then have a look in playlists, and you can see what other things I do, and just hopefully. And then if you like this particular video, give it a like, because it gets it out into YouTube and all algorithms and all that business, and then more people might like it, or perhaps they won't. And if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I do love to read your comments, and say it all costs notes, so can't say fairer than that, can they, by heck? And that's it. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.